If you're really going to change the industry, you also need some incentives. I mean, I think we are driven very much about the sustainability part, and that I really, really like. But if you're going to change the whole shipping industry, it also must be something in it for them to willing to take that path going forward. And if we can combine that, then it's great. If you can have both a good business case for it and also then it's great for the environment.
Welcome to the Shipping Podcast, where I meet interesting maritime professionals sharing their passion for the shipping industry and their everyday job. I am your host. My name is Lena Gothberg. Hello, Shipping Podcast listener, and welcome to episode 202. I had the pleasure of meeting a previous guest of the Shipping Podcast a few weeks ago. His name is Niclas Dahl. He has taken on a new role since the last time I sat down with him in episode 29, which was quite some time ago. He's now the managing director of Oceanbird. I don't know if Oceanbird needs any further presentation since it's on everyone's lips at the moment. But since many of my listeners are not yet in the maritime industry, maybe just a few words. There is an extensive discussion about how the maritime industry can contribute to society's efforts to reduce greenhouse gas right now. We are talking about alternative fuel and cutting-edge technology. Add to that the sound pollution in water. And there it is. The idea of using wind again for transporting goods at sea. Oceanbird is a maritime startup and a joint venture between Wallenius and Alfa Laval, two large Swedish industrial companies passionate about the change we need to make in the maritime industry. So, without further ado, here is my conversation with Niclas Dahl. Welcome back to the Shipping Podcast, Niclas Dahl.
Thank you.
The last time we met was in episode 29, which is almost 7 years ago.
Yeah, times fly.
Yes, it does. You were then in another position. You had another job at that time.
Yes. During that time, I think we discussed quite a lot regarding pure ballast part. And I also then worked with more the traditional Alfa Laval portfolio regarding separators and new fuels and these parts.
And now I have invited you because you have taken on a new challenge.
Yeah. So since more or less 1 year now, I'm being the managing director for Oceanbird, which is really, really exciting.
I get excited just hearing that. Could you please describe what is Oceanbird?
Yeah, Oceanbird, we looked into how can we reduce CO2 emissions and by putting on wing sails to really, really large cargo vessels. So we've been working on that, and actually it was a research project for 3 years, funded by the Swedish government. And then 1 year ago, they said, okay, now we feel ready to make it a commercial product. So then it was created a company called Oceanbird that is a joint venture between Alfa Laval and Wallenius. And then I thought that was so exciting to start up something new. Not so often you get those chances. And really build a team around it and do that. So it's really, really super exciting. Been a great year.
So what is the project? What is Oceanbird?
Yeah, what we talk about revolutionizing the shipping industry by providing wing sails, and we see the possibility to use wind as the main propulsion or as a wind assist for ships in order to reduce emissions. And if you talk about revolutionizing a whole shipping industry, that means also that we need to look into the 60,000 ships that are already existing. So, of course, we're working on how do you put on 1 or 2 wings as a wind assist, or how do you work with make it as a wind propulsion, which is also maybe a little bit different challenges, because then you need to consider more the shape of the hull and different things. So we're looking at all of these things moving forward. And I mean, when we talk about wing sails, for us, it's more like an airplane wing. So we talk about hard sails, consist of a main sail and a flap in order to create the camber so you get as much thrust as possible. And it's really big things. I mean, we talk about 40-meter height and 14-meter in width. So they are huge in that way. So 560 square meter you have as a wing sail, only for one. And that means that we can generate a lot of thrust moving forward.
I have seen some tests that you have done.
Yeah.
I can add a link to this episode so people can look for themselves. But when is it supposed to be in production?
I mean, we will have the first installation on land next year. So we will start assembling that after the summer. So that will be a full size on land. And for us, it's very important just to make sure that we have all the automation, everything is working before we put it on the ship, and also that all the assembly, how that will work, logistic, test out everything. And then in beginning of 24, it will be the first installation on board a ship, and that will then be on an existing ship. So it's not far away.
No, it isn't. I'm amazed by the speed that you're working as well. I mean, when you look upon your movies and your pictures, it's like, yeah, this is a little bit science fiction on one hand. On the other hand, the wind has been there forever.
Yeah, it is very much going back to the future, or how you put it in that way. I mean, the first, of course, ships were then powered by wind, and then of course you had the oil coming, the combustion engine coming over and taking over that. And I think the main reason for that was, of course, it took a lot of people. How do you handle that? And with today's technology, we can make it fully automated, which means that you don't need to be able to sail, and you don't need 40, 50 people to take down the sails if the wind go up too high. And I think there is a comparison there also with the car industry. I mean, the first car was an electric car, and then you didn't have the possibility how to charge, how to get the batteries. Now today, more or less, the most cars are electric, and it's the same here. I mean, we go back to the natural way of propulsion the ships.
So comparing to cars, will it be a hybrid?
Yeah, I mean, we will do both. So it's a hybrid. I mean, for the retrofit installation, when we do on existing ones, then it will always be a hybrid. I mean, my vision in the future is, of course, that if you put it on, that means that you can reduce the engine size. So the more sails you have, you can maybe then reduce, but you always need some kind of engine, in my view, or always is maybe difficult to say, but because there will be situations where you have no wind, or when you have too much wind, where you don't feel comfortable. Also, maybe when you go into ports and different things like that. But if you can then optimize that, you can reduce a lot, because then you don't need the full power in order when you go on the ocean, when you have the wind there.
So what do you say to this? I mean, it's an old traditional business,
yeah.
The entire industry.
Yeah.
So everyone would say, how can you guarantee that the ship is arriving on time?
Yeah. We look quite a lot. I mean, there is, of course, a lot of routing systems where you can do. And also one of our sister companies, Storm Geo, is working a lot with these parts. So we're also working with them on, I mean, how can you route the ship in order to, you need to be on time, where will you get the most wind? And the more wing sails you have on board, the more important the routing will be, because you will get more thrust out of that. But I mean, when we set up these parts, it's always, of course, you need to be on time. How do you do that? And then that could mean that you maybe reduce the power of the engine, so you can run it on a lower power, which means that you're saving quite a lot of fuel. Because when it comes to the engine, it's when you go up on the high speed, that's when you have the huge amount of fuel consumption. So if we can then power that part from the wind, and then you make the rest with an engine. So in that way, it becomes a hybrid. But it's not a hybrid in the sense of a car, because a car you normally have full engine and then full electric or battery part. Here, then you could mean that you could reduce the engine size in order to compensate that. So it's a both way, but you don't need two systems fully sized in that way.
So what will be the impact of the Oceanbird?
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult when you put in, and the boring answer is it depends. But I think it's very important just to understand, because there is a lot of numbers going on. They talk a lot about percentage savings. For us, we normally look in more to how much thrust can we give. And of course, it depends on how willing are you to sail the ship, which winds, when will you fold it down. In our situation, we fold it down at 20 meters per second. So it's very strong winds anyway. And we think that you don't feel comfortable with having the wing up after that. So that's why we have designed it and then put it down. And if you then take a route over Atlantic, you would most probably get, in average over a year, you get 500 kilowatts savings in average. But when you have really good winds, you get up to 3-4 megawatts out of these wings, which means, I mean, normally a car carrier may be running on 8-9 megawatts. So with one wing sail, you're saving half or 1/3 of that. But then you also have situations when you don't have the wind, or you have the wind in the wrong direction where you don't want it. So then, of course, it will be less. So in an average, you get this. Then when you talk about the percentage, it's so difficult because it depends on what kind of engine you have. If you take on a huge tanker, it will be most probably a few percent. I mean, if you put it on a very small ship, you will still have the same thrust going forward. So then you would have a huge part of it. That's why for us, when we take a normal route, not really optimized for wind, and we simulate that over a year, you save roughly around 400 or 500 tons of fuel. So that is more the way you can get the feeling on how much savings you get. But it is very much depending on if you're going on a route over the Atlantic, you will have more savings. If you're going in the Baltic Sea, you will most probably have less savings and so on. So what we do with the customer when we sit down with them is that we are then looking into exact the ship, and then we look into what routes they are normally doing. And then we simulate that for over 10 years of wind history. And then we can see more or less exact how much savings they could expect on that part.
And it's not only savings, it's also savings on the climate.
It's savings on the climate. But I truly believe that if you're going to make a shipping revolution in that, if you're really going to change the industry, you also need some incentives. I mean, I think we are driven very much about the sustainability part, and that I really, really like. But if you're going to change the whole shipping industry, it also must be something in it for them to willing to take that path going forward. And if we can combine that, then it's great. If you can have both a good business case for it and also then it's great for the environment. So for that reason, I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So if I'm a master mariner, or if I want to become a master mariner and sail on a ship with wind sails on it, how do I get educated to do that?
I mean, for us, it's very important to get the crew engaged. And the way you get crew engaged is to understand and to understand the technology, understand all of this. So we put a lot of efforts into this and how to early on get them involved and discuss with them so they understand when to take them down, how to take them down, what kind of impact it will have in different situations, what impact will it have on stability, how will you handle ballasting and all of this. So that is a part of when we put on a wing sails, that we also then have education for them to do that. Then, of course, it doesn't mean that you need to be fully sailing, because it will be an automated system in that way. But to understand how you can get more, I mean, if you are using the cross sailing or if you're just using the ground circle when you navigate, if you put in the autopilot from A to B, you will get savings. If you then really actively work with that and understand the mechanism behind it, you can get much more savings. I think that's really where I also see a great thing moving forward, that to create like you get the competition who can really work with this in a good way, where you can see the savings and get the engagement from the crew. Because we want the crew to be proud of that they are part of this journey and changing the industry, changing the world.
But if I am looking into maybe coming into the maritime world, I'm a young student and I'm thinking about maybe become a master mariner. Where would I be educated then to be able to drive those ships with wings?
Yeah, in the future, I think there will be more for both. In Sweden we work a lot with KTH. I know they have a lot in Chalmers within these areas also. They also have sailing technique as courses where you can do and understand the backgrounds with that. So that there are some possibilities to do that, but there could be more. And I think that will also develop quite naturally when this becomes more a natural part of the industry. Today, there are very few installations in general. So of course, the education system has maybe not really taken that step yet, but they're super engaged and super interested in this, and also see the possibility to do that. So I'm sure that will come more and more.
It's so exciting because you're sort of putting all the new technology together in one project.
Yeah.
Or am I right?
No, yeah, you're right. There is a lot of technology. It's a lot of learnings. How do these ships behave? And that's why we have also done a lot of this testing, both wind tunnel test. We have a 7-meter long prototype where we've been out sailing with it to understand how the wind behave, and also in between different wings, how to control the vessels and this part. So there is a lot to learn. I think we come quite far, but I'm sure, all these technologies, since it's quite new, that will develop over time. We'll learn more, we'll be better and better, always.
Yeah, because it's machine learning and it's AI, I can presume.
Yeah.
It's a lot of other things that hasn't really been traditionally in the shipping industry.
Yeah. And it also makes much sense. Now also to have full internet connection on board ships, that has not been in the past, being quite difficult with connectivity and these kind of things. And now when all that moving forward, you get more satellite coverage and it's easier to handle. That means that you can collect more data, you can fine tune and you can improve that efficiency quite a lot.
Coming back to your team, what does the diversity look like there?
Yeah, we have an ambition of being 50-50, but we also need to look into where we recruit people and do that. And that's not really...
Then you're talking gender. But
gender, and also, for us, we are today 15 employees. We are 5 different nationalities. So in that way, we have a very big diversity. For gender, we are 4 women in the team, and it's in all variation of positions. So we have the lead mechanical engineer is a woman. So it's really like the top and most important for our development. So that's really nice to see. And also when we look into age diversity in that way, I would say we have maybe a more younger team in that way. And it also goes with that there is not so much history. So you don't need to have a mix is always perfect, but to have the ambition and to have the knowledge is also very good. You come very far with that.
And the passion.
Passion is very important. And I think that's when we recruit, that's one of the most important. Why are they looking to work with Oceanbird? Because you need to be able to share the cause. That you really want to be a part of a big change. We want to do something differently. We need to think out of the box. There are a lot of technology challenges. If it was easy, I would say then everyone have done this before. So of course it's a very difficult part. But I think that's really what trigger all of the team members in that way to really be a part of something new.
So building the team, how do you recruit people? Where do they come from?
Yeah, they come from different places. When we started up, we were 4 or 5 people that came in, and 2 of them came from this research project. So we had a lot of knowledge going in with that, but it's only 2 people from that. And then it was me and 1 other person from Alfa Laval. And then we started to recruit people moving forward. And I think for us, it's a very exciting project. It's get a lot of attention, and it's for a really good cause, because you can really see that you can make a difference. It's a high purpose of it. We had a lot of interest for people. So I'm really super proud of the team. I think we have one of the strongest team in the world. I hope every manager feel that way. But we've been really successful. And I would say maybe 1/3 is coming from KTH, and they've been working maybe on thesis with Oceanbird in the past. So they all have a connection to that. 1/3 is coming from Alfa Laval, people who thought this is very exciting, as myself. And then 1/3 is external, that has been coming from all over the place as experts in their area.
One of my soapboxes is that we need new knowledge into our industry, which we haven't had before. So where do we get them from?
Yeah. No, I think, for this, it's really like a new thing moving forward. We discussed quite a lot with the class society, because there are no really class rules, how to handle wing sails on board ships and so on. How do you calculate with the structure? How do you calculate with all of this? So we have built that together with the class societies, and we got really, really good people in with that, and very high-level people. So we have a lot of PhD and very, very strong competencies in the team.
When you launch the first vessel, will that be here in Sweden, or will it be?
It's not really decided. We've decided which ship it will be on the first ship. Then where that will be, because that will then be done during dry docking. So it will little bit depends on where they do the dry docking of that part. Could be in Asia, could be in Europe. So that little bit depends.
Because seeing is believing in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we are all super excited. We've been working on it now for 1 year, and of course you would like to see the result in that and really get out the data and see how everything matches up with what we have worked on for the last year.
If we change the view outwards from your own team, how have you been greeted by the industry?
The industry, I think they've been looking into this as very exciting. I think we come in a timing that is really perfect. There are, of course, a lot of concerns regarding new legislation coming in with like CII and EXI and this part. So everyone need to do something. And as you mentioned before, the marine industry is a quite conservative market. So coming in with new technology, new things is always more difficult in those ways. But here you need to do something differently. You cannot go on as you do today, which means that you're more open to look into what kind of solutions are there. So in most meetings we had with the customers and so on, they are very interested. Very often it starts with, this is great, but it's nothing for us. And then 1 hour later, they say, please stay. And then you explain more, because they get excited and they understand more. And I think it goes very much into the heart of people in the shipping industry, with really going back to the tradition and so on. And then I think should not forget the wow factor. Imagine a vessel coming in with 40-meter high wing sails. That will really show a statement, and also a statement for that ship owner that they are really taking this environmental part in a serious way.
Talking about the wow factor, I was in London for the ABBA Voyager.
Yeah.
That was great. And I saw the Oceanbird launch.
Yeah. It's a little bit unique partnership we have regarding that. And it's really super exciting. We have a partnership with ABBA Voyage, or as it is, actually, it's Wallenius who has a partnership. And of course, Oceanbird is a part of that. And I think, ABBA has been looking quite a long time for finding partners. So they have not worked with an industry company before. And then they said, this is what we would like to work with. That's Oceanbird. Because it goes very well with what they believe. They have a very big thinking regarding sustainability. They also, with the avatars, looking into the technology. And then, of course, it goes very well with the logistic thinking and how to handle this. So they've been really super excited for this. And it's also a very good way for us to get out the message. And I think this is also an important part, because we very often talk about future fuels or what are we going to do, but to get out to the message that there are solutions here and now ready to test on in real life. So, and it, of course, it gives a big spread to every people.
But you are not excited about that, are you?
Yeah, no, but it is, and it's a great show. I was also there during the premiere, and it was amazing. So of course we feel very proud, and I think also, I mean, in that way, you should also see that we are both from Swedish company and Swedish music group, which also makes the connection very strong, and that we feel very proud, both of us, to be part of that. That we do a lot of things in Sweden.
I was amazed.
Yeah.
Both by the show, of course, but also to see Oceanbird as a trademark there.
Yeah.
And I felt proud to be a Swede, of course. So being part of the change, that is what you spoke about in the previous episode that we did.
Yeah.
Not just sitting there and waiting for the change.
Yeah.
And collaboration is the big buzzword. And I have to congratulate you and also Abba to this unexpected collaboration, because that was totally unexpected for me. And that is what we need to see.
Yeah.
People who are not usually working together, what can they find together to do?
No, but it's a unique partnership in that way, and finding good ways to reach out and get out the voice, to really show that there are great solutions out there, and there are great possibilities. So
yeah. Have you seen other great collaborations? Maybe you have more collaborations up your sleeve. I don't know.
No, we don't have any other like partnerships in that way. I mean, we were also a part of Bill Gates' zero emission, where he also did that. And then, of course, we have a lot of partnerships where we work together, collaboration, like with KTH, with SSPA here in Gothenburg, and which has been really, really great. And I think also the whole wind community, if you can call it that, now it starts to become working also together in that way too, because it's important that for us to convince everyone that this is the right way forward, you need to also have serious competitors in that way, and to work together to change the industry and the mindset, and to be able to show that this is the right way forward. And there we can also work a lot together with the class societies, with other who has this, to set up standards and rules, and how to measure things and so on.
Where is Oceanbird in 5 years?
Oceanbird in 5 years is a very big company. I think we will see a lot of wing sales in that. We will be maybe around 50, 60 people, I would guess. Today we are 15. I mean, so in 1 year we have been growing from that part. And you will see on many ships going forward, and also for both new building and retrofits. And I think for the new building, I think it will be a very natural way of discussing forward when you build a new ship, that you make sure that you have the possibility to put these wing sails or wind solutions on them. Because not to utilize this thrust or power that you can get out there feels very, very strange. When it's there, it's free. Who doesn't like free energy? So I think that's will be a quite natural part of the shipping industry.
So will we be seeing each other again then in 5 years?
Yeah, let's not wait 7. Yeah, exactly. Let's wait only 5. No, but for sure.
I'm so happy you came back to my shipping podcast and spoke about this. Thank you very much, Niclas.
Thank you.
And best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hope to see you soon again. Thank you, Niclas. I will add a link to the fantastic video of Oceanbird to this episode's show notes, just in case someone might have missed what it looks like. This startup is right up my alley if you haven't noticed. I have a passion for change, and I'm a tech nerd, which might be why I'm so much in love with this project. Thank you for listening. Who else is changing things up? Please let me know, and I will try and get into a conversation with them. As you know, every conversation matters. From me to you, until the next time, over and out. Thank you for listening to the Shipping Podcast. Don't forget to tell everyone that you meet that there is a shipping podcast available and that they should download it and listen to the maritime professionals who are sharing their passion for the shipping industry.